sit here and I'm going to wait and see until we get some people here. In the meantime, guess what I'm going to do? I got to go over here. Because I can't smoke while I'm on. As we all know, the verdict, the jury's got the verdict. They'll be coming out. I predict they're going to have a quick decision and we're going to know by tomorrow. I think the way the judge put it out and defined what the crimes are was easily understood. There was a problem, as we know, with one juror who said, and this guy seemed like an educated guy, says he couldn't understand the jury instructions. So I can't figure that one out, folks. Not for an educated guy, anyways. But I just did a post that I'm going to be posting right after the trial about the longest trial in history. It was 22 months, and it was a RICO indictment on 20 Lucchese members out of New Jersey. 22 months. There were 20 defendants in that courtroom. Plus 20 lawyers, the whole prosecution team, and they were found not guilty because the guy who went pro se was one of the best lawyers there, and his name is Jackie D'Inocio. I know the people who made the movie. There's a movie, all right? There, no, we got somebody in here. I've been over here talking to myself. How are ya? Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, I know I shouldn't smoke. Hey, Tommy Brady, how are you, buddy? Mikey, good. What are you doing? Okay. Let's try to get some people in here, folks. I tried scheduling a live before, and then when the time came, I couldn't get into my own thing. I'm looking, when it comes to technology, I'm as dense as anybody can get. I certainly know how to post because that comes from my background in marketing and insurance, being a salesperson, all right? And that's what I am, a salesperson. And that came from all my training and that there, and I was very successful at it. Hi, Lisa, I'm glad you came, all right? A lot of folks been asking me if I have an audio book, okay? You all know that I'm the author of The Accidental Gangster, all right? And this book is being made into a movie as we speak. And yes, there is an Audible, there's a Kindle, it's available in any form. If you want an autographed copy, go to my website. Otherwise, go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, they got it online there. And I guess there's some other places too. But yes, the Audible is there. I forgot how much it is. It's not expensive at all. And, you know, well, I'm glued to YouTube. I watch more YouTube now than my TV. I'm thinking of getting rid of it. Because, first of all, these pundits are so redundant, one after the other, saying the same thing in their own voices. Nothing new there. But YouTube, you had such a variety of things. And you had a variety of people reporting on the Diddy trial. And they're all doing the best they can. Yeah, there's a couple that just came on last week to try to get some views because it's so important. Okay? But the majority of them are good. They're out there, and especially these ones who are reporting from the courthouse. I speak with Lauren Conlon. She does an amazing job, right to the fact, nice, no bullshit. Okay, they're there at 6:30 a.m. Yeah, her, Tisha, and all the other people. 6:30 a.m. they get there in the morning, folks. So they deserve a lot of credit, and I give credit to everybody that is working and trying to do the right job. Uh, so God bless them all. Okay. Uh, I was talking earlier about, and I'm going to be doing. I did a post out. I'm going to be posting after. I want you to know that when this trial is over, I'm still here, folks, because I got stories. That you love legal stuff, I got legal stuff. You like criminal stuff, I got criminal stuff. You want motivational, I got motivational. For those of you who don't know, I was extremely successful in the insurance business. I built a multi-million-dollar business in upstate New York, throughout New York State. Okay? I had over 250 automobile dealers in the state of New York as my client. And Dino De Laurentiis, filmmaker out here in Los Angeles, he was big. Check him out. Google Dino De Laurentiis. If you remember the Valachi paper, the Brinks job, across 134th Street, I know those three movies very well. You know why? Because there was problems on the sets of those movies. And guess who took care of those problems? Me. Yeah, I did. Quietly, no fuss, no problems. And that's how I became recognized as a Hollywood fixer. I became friends with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, several others. I dated some movie stars that you all know. Okay, one of the nicest ladies, somebody on Gilligan's Island that you all know. Every man's dream. Okay, I've been around, folks. I got stories. I did my time in prison like a man. I was indicted on a Colombo crime family indictment in 1997, an FBI agent, because I would not become an informant for them. He said, I will see the day you are chained, shackled, put on Con Air, and brought to Brooklyn. 1997. 11 years later, he made it a reality. I was arrested in my home here in Beverly Hills, chained, shackled, brought downtown to Los Angeles, MDC, and was not given bail. I was extradited to New York, put on Con Air, and flown in to Brooklyn, MDC, right where Diddy is right now. Diddy's over there on 4 North. Now, when I was there, we knew that is the old building. Because there's two buildings there. And the building he's at is all dorms. And I gotta be honest, I hated the dorms. Because, remember, you got I always had a lower bunk. But you got a bunkie on top of you. You got bunks all over you. You got 120 people in the unit. Okay? The bathroom's right there. The shower's right there. You eat right there. Everything's right there. Okay? So you could be eating and somebody's going to the bathroom. And it's cold as hell in the winter and warm as hell in the summer. I finally got transferred to what we call the new building, where I was in a cell, and I liked the cell much better, had more privacy. It was cool, okay, and and at that time it was the Colombo family, the Gambino family, the Bonanno family. I mean, the FBI was bringing everybody in. So, all us Italians, we had our own table, just like you see in the movie uh, Goodfellas, okay? Just like that there, all right? And, we had guys and cook meals like you couldn't believe. You think you were in a restaurant. They bake pies and all that stuff, okay? But that's when you're well respected in prison. And we helped everybody out. All right, we shared our food with others, you know, the blacks, the Mexicans, and Jamaicans, no matter who they were, we shared. And it wasn't that bad, I gotta be honest with you. I don't recommend it, don't recommend it at all. But, going to prison is a mindset. When that day does come, you have to you got to know in your head, it's going to happen. And if you're out there doing crimes, stop. It took them 11 years, and they did it with me. So just imagine, the government is so powerful, it's amazing. The FBI has over 35,000 employees. They know everything you're doing every day. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody. Don't you think they know where you're at every minute of the day? Well, let's talk about Diddy. I know you want to talk about that there, so I'm going to talk a few minutes about it. Okay? I think he's going to be found guilty, and I think we're going to know fairly soon. Will we know today? I doubt it, but I think we're going to know by tomorrow. I might be right, I might be wrong, I don't know. I firmly believe they got the RICO. RICO, you have almost 0% chance of winning. And remember, they only need two predicate acts, and they got several there. Talking about Mark and Niflo, Diddy's attorney. Obviously, he probably got it as a referral from Mark Garagos, who handles a lot of civil matters. And actually, he was in court here in Beverly Hills courthouse last Friday, on one of the civil cases that he's representing Diddy on. I think it might be the first one to get to court. I'm not sure. Okay. And this is on one of his assistants. And I have a deep tie to one of Diddy's deep assistants. I'm not going to mention his name. Maybe someday I'll be allowed to. Uh, hey, how you doing, Drew? Calling me Grants. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Uh, Lisa Hamilton. Hey, we're not getting a lot of people here. Everybody's watching something else. Oh, well, they're watching. But anyways, I wanted to share that with you. And what's going to go on with Diddy? Well, that's a good question. We're just talking. Jury 25. From my understanding, he's an intelligent guy. he's educated, and saying he doesn't understand the jury instruction. Look, I have said from the beginning, the Judge Submarinian should have had a sequestered jury. Why he didn't, I have no idea. Now, he's been a good judge. I think he's been fair all the way through. Except, I think he made a big mistake there. You know, in 1987, you've seen it on my video, okay? 1987, John Gotti beat RICO case in New York in the Southern District. Why? Because Sammy Gravano went out and paid a juror $60,000. The guy's name was Pape. It came out later. Okay? Now, Diddy's got millions of dollars. I don't count his money. Okay? At one time he was a billionaire. You got to take, when they give you a net worth, okay, that takes in your property, your businesses, all right? Liquid cash, from my understanding, Diddy has about $70 million liquid cash left over. 70 million is still an awful, awful lot of money. And don't forget, you got KK, Christina Korn. We don't know what's going on with her. Do you think she's not pulling a string in the background? I think so. Just my feelings, my gut feeling, and my gut has made me survive. I was in the mafia, okay? I was on the streets. I survived it. I've had guns put to my head. I'm still alive. So I think I understand the streets, and my gut has always been working in my favor for me. And there's just something that tells me something's fishy. And then all of a sudden this juror comes out. I don't know. Yeah, they say they're watching them. Look, if these people go home, they got access to their phones, their TVs, everything. So, I mean, this is you know, you're correct. People are afraid to go to police, particularly abused women. I'll tell you a story. One of the most beautiful women I ever seen. Vice President of Universal Pictures called me up one day and he said, Ori, I need to see you. He says, can I meet you tonight? It's very important. I got somebody you need to talk to. His name was Gene. I said, Gene, meet me at the Four Seasons at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I walked in. I seen Gene sitting at a table with a girl. She wasn't a 10. She was a 12 to 15. Beautiful girl. So I sit down and say hello to everybody. And I said, what can I do for you? This girl, the night before, was beaten by her boyfriend. And they live right down the street from the Four Seasons, which is not far from the police station. This girl called the police. The police came, took him, put him in jail. I said, so what's the problem if he's in jail? Well, he's back in my apartment. I said, how did he get back in your apartment? Because she told me she changed the locks. She said, I gave him a key. I said, let me ask you a question. How long have you been with this guy? She said, 7 years. I said, so this has been going on for 7 years? She said, yes. I said, still looking. I said, you want me to go over to your apartment and throw him out, correct? She said, yeah. I said, look, I can get a couple of my guys and I could go there and handle it just like that. I said, but you know what's going to happen? The moment I do it and I throw him out, you're going to call the police on me because you got a fear of this guy that's unbelievable. I said, I'm the wrong guy. I can't handle that for you. You've been doing this for 7 years. I says, there are places that you can go. They got shelters for you to live in. But you got to get away from this guy. Okay? These girls are like addicts. They keep going back because they think this guy's in love with them. Okay? And like the law says, if the girl says no once, just once, you've been to bed with her 10 times, she says no, man, you better stop. Because now it's a crime when you do it after that. So, do I believe in all the laws? I believe that the RICO law is illegal and unconstitutional. I believe the minimum mandatory sentencing guidelines are unconstitutional. But they're on the books. Why are they on the books? You see all those U.S. attorneys fighting these cases all around the country? Most of them, you know what their goal is? To be a member of Congress or Senate. That's what the goal is. That's a stepping stone for them into politics. Look at the people that you have in the U.S. House of Representatives, people that you vote for. The majority of them are prosecutors. Richard Nixon signed the RICO bill in 1971, which I studied thoroughly, the RICO bill. He actually signed it in the hopes that it would stop drugs from coming into this country. Obviously, that didn't work. It had been used in civil cases until, and I don't like this guy at all, Rudy Giuliani. He got it. He started using it. And he did it well. And it's been being used in criminal cases against gangs, against the Crips, against the Bloods, against the Southsiders, all different groups now. And you have a 0% chance of winning. And that's why Diddy, if he loses, if they find him guilty just on the RICO alone, the judge can give him up to 20 years. Up into 20 years. And I want to tell you, our trial, there were 14 on our indictment, and the Eastern District, which I think, honestly, in my opinion, Eastern got better U.S. attorneys than the Southern District. Just my opinion. And my U.S. attorney was Elizabeth Geddes, and she's responsible for R. Kelly, okay, because his case was there, okay. Uh, we had some guys that had murder charges. Had 4 guys. Out of the 4 of them, 2 became informants. So now when their trial happened, they went to trial. One guy was the acting boss of the Colombo family, another guy was a made man, both friends of mine, right now to this day. Okay? And the jury found him not guilty of all the charges, but found him guilty on the RICO. My one friend who had one RICO, and that was the acting boss, he only had one RICO charge. The judge sentenced him to 17 years. He's out now. He's done his time. He's on supervised release for 4 years. My other friend was talking to somebody who was wearing a wire while in the NDC. He said, I could do 30 years standing on my head. He had 5 RICO indictments. The judge said, you can do 30 years standing on your head? Try 50. Yeah, my friend in prison doing 50 years. So that's just the RICO alone, okay? And that decision is up to the judge of how much time. Some other charges are minimum mandatory sentencing guidelines, were acted by Joe Biden when he wrote the worst crime bill in history. He took sentencing right out of the hands of the judges. Congress is the one who's sentencing everybody nowadays with these minimum mandatory sentencing. I had a robbery charge and I had a drug charge. Okay? I was facing life. Facing life. The drug charges was 50 kilos or more. It all began when Sonny sent one of the toughest guys you wanted to meet out here to meet with me because he said we should do business. And Sonny Franchise guaranteed this guy to me. The guy was sitting right here on my couch. Not that I had a different couch then. Sitting there. When a Jamaican friend of mine got arrested, he was selling drugs, marijuana in North Carolina, shipping it from here. He got arrested. They had him locked up in NDC, and I was lawyering him up and everything. And his wife came to me because he also had several kilos of cocaine on the streets in Brooklyn. And it was about $500,000 worth. So his wife came to me with the Mexicans from the cartel. They knew me and asked me if I get the money. Well, I knew those guys. So I picked up the phone. I called. I said, what's going on here? They said, Ori, Ricky didn't understand. You know, we're converting that into rock cocaine, so it takes longer. But we have 100,000 ready right now. And then the guy, his name was Gaetano. Oh, I got somebody, I picked it up tonight. I said, we'll have it picked up tonight. He got that. You know what? He sent me half the money back. 100 grand, he kept 50, sent me 50. We need another 400 grand to pay these Mexicans. I fly back to New York. I tell this kid, come meet me at the Warwick Hotel. He comes and meets me. I give him hell. I said, look, I don't want to go to Sonny with this. I said, you're going to get the fucking money. I said, I know something's going on here, and I don't like the smell of it. Well, I didn't know then, but when I got arrested, and we had all our discovery, and we listened to it, 1,700 hours of tape recordings. Sonny Franchise was on most of them. I was on 11, but if you're on one tape recording, it's one too many. And he has a meeting with me at the Warwick. I'm listening to this. Well, I'm locked up in NDC. I'm in a room, in the visiting room where they have room for us to listen to our discovery. And me and my co-defendants are listening to it. When he left the Warwick Hotel, he called the FBI agent, his handler. You know what the FBI agent? He says, "Oh, he's really pissed. He wants the rest of their fucking money." And the FBI says, "Put that phone in the trunk of your car and call me from your other phone." I said, "Man, I got this one." Okay. I showed that to my lawyer. She said, "That makes it worse for me that I'm involved in cocaine." Because I had nothing to do with cocaine. I didn't distribute it. I didn't deal with it. But yet, that was one of my acts. The other was a robbery charge where I had a couple guys from New York come out here for a robbery in Burbank. There was a safe with $1 million in it, supposedly. Had everything arranged perfectly. Two guys from New York came here. We had a rental car for them. One guy named Nick was on my patio smoking a joint when I took my co-defendant into my bedroom and I gave him something. Well, that guy Nick became a rat and said that I gave that guy a gun. They didn't find a gun. They didn't see a gun. But because the rat said I had a gun, that's what I ended up pleading to. A 924C gun charge. Now that law's still on the books. If you use it in an act of violence. Did Diddy use a gun in an act of violence? Yes. When he put the gun on that girl, Mia, I think her name was Mia, and told her to get in the car, that's violence. When he went to Cootie's house, that's violence. People said it. Not one person, several people. I don't have them talking about that. I don't understand why. You know what happened after I got out of prison? I was out of prison about 2 years. My friend called me from prison. He was still in. He got longer time because he had another case out of New Jersey. But he got out, nice young kid. He's doing very well back in New York. He's in the construction business. God bless him, he's doing awesome. And he said the Supreme Court found a 924C gun charge illegal and unconstitutional. He said, you got to write the judge, get it off your record. I'm going to court. They're going to take it off my record. People who were in jail with a similar crime got released from prison. So I write my judge a letter. Judge Brian Colgan in the Eastern District, great judge. I got to tell you, great judge. Same judge that the drug dealer from Canada, the hell his name? It's slipping now. uh, come on. Same judge he had. But anyway, Judge Brian Colgan. So I write him a letter. A month later, I'm downstairs in my mailroom. There's a FedEx from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Elizabeth Geddes. I open it up. First page says, yes, Mr. Spado's charge should be taken off. I'm happy as shit. I get on the elevator, come up here with 5 pages. I sit in my chair over here. I get to the 4th page. In the event that Mr. Spado's charge, 924C charge, is dropped, then we shall bring back charges 1 and 13 of the indictment, which was RICO and cocaine conspiracy. I go, what the fuck? So now I write the judge another letter. I said, Your Honor, I wrote that letter without the advice of a lawyer. Next thing you know, he gives me a court-appointed lawyer in New York. The lawyer calls me up, telling me not to worry. We got a court date. You got to be in Brooklyn on February 4th or whatever it was. I said, I'm not coming fucking back to New York. I'm not going back in that goddamn courtroom. I said, because I'm going to go in there. I said, and for some reason, boom, the cuffs are going on, and they're going to process me and make me fight my case from jail. Oh, no, that won't happen. I said, bullshit. I said, let's just forget about it. Don't do nothing. Leave it as is. I could live with it on my record for the rest of my life. But we went back and forth, and finally got the judge and Elizabeth Getty. But you see how they are? Now look at those crimes all were after the statute of limitations. But yes, here she was. After I did my 5 years in prison, after I did my 4 years supervised release, she wants to bring charges back. Now look, honestly, I could have beat them. But you know how much money I would have had to spend and travel back to the Eastern District? No. Maybe I should do it again now because Elizabeth Getty is not there. They got somebody new. I think she left after the R. Kelly case. But anyways, folks, I told you a lot of stories today. And I got a million other stories to tell you. So don't think that after this Diddy trial that I'm going to continue. I'll be continuing doing my thing and be here for you. I want to thank you all who came in here today. I'm going to have to learn how to schedule these things. Okay, so put your notifications on. I'm going to go to my son's and have him teach me this. I hate technology, folks. I swear to God, no matter what we do, it's technology. Today, you go in the grocery store, all right, and you want to buy some, oh, it's on sale. And it says with digital coupon. You got to bring your phone into the grocery store to do the digital coupon, no matter what. So that's it, folks. The Ohio Rizzlers, Brady Bruins, who loves your channel. Shout out to you. Thank you. Folks, thank you so much. Teresa, Son of Dollar, Pompo Water, I can't say your name, sorry. I'm getting out they called me earlier today, so I can get new glasses. So forgive me. And people, I gotta read scripts. They send it to me. I gotta read it on my computer. I hate it. I'm old fashioned, you see. I gotta have paper. That's how old fashioned I am. My son said, Dad, why do you do that? People buy a book. First it goes to PayPal, then it goes to my son, who handles the Accidental Gangster account for me, and then they send it to me. So there's 3 copies. When I get it, I print the order out, get the envelope, get the book, and I put all the printouts in an envelope. My son says, Dad, why do you do that? He said, you're wasting all that paper. You don't need to be doing that. I got a record. You got a record. PayPal's got a record. It's just the way I am. What can I say? Okay? I hope you folks enjoyed this here. Uh, Anybody hear anything from the jury? I haven't heard nothing. I'm waiting for Lisa to comment, to come on, see what she's got. I listened to T said nobody's got nothing new to say, I guess. You know? And you watch that Law and Crime. They're good, but they're always behind. They're always behind. I don't know why. And Law and Crime, they got like 5, 6 channels. Oh, yeah, Pampa Power, I believe that he's going down for sure. Let me tell you something. It's like I said in one of my videos. And please, watch my videos, like them, share them, and do all that there. And, there's a thanks button if people want to use it, want to help me out. Okay, I appreciate that there. I think through the years that I've been doing this, I think I got one thank button for $1.99. You know, it's no big deal either way. Uh, but I cannot see how possibly that they cannot find him guilty. I think it's almost impossible because the prosecution laid out a good case at the end, especially. And then from what I hear about the judge's orders, the way it was worded, it was easily for the jurors to understand. Uh, you know, and people think it's, oh, if he gets a mistrial, he walks. No, he don't walk. And I just posted today about hung jury. So you can go and listen to that there. Mistrial is a mistrial. The judge declares mistrial, and the U.S. attorney will bring the case back again to trial. That means Diddy will sit in NDC and wait for another trial date, which could be a year away because he's had his speedy trial. It might be a year or 2 years away. I was in NDC for 30 months. That's 2.5 years before I got sentenced and got out of there. All right, after sentencing, then they ship you out to a prison, which I think Diddy will like much better because you can get to see the outside. No, he won't get bail. No way. He's been denied too many times. The case has been heard. He's already been caught tampering with witnesses. No, he will not get bail. What most likely would happen is the U.S. attorney. Hi, I don't know what happened there. Somebody somebody called me. I hit the decline button and my screen froze up. So as I was saying, all right, the prosecute U.S. attorney might offer him a plea deal, and at that point, I predict the plea deal be between 15, 20 years, and he would be a fool not to take it. I understand that he was offered a plea deal of 15 years, which he turned down, and he might regret it, or we don't know. So let's wait, folks. We're all in the same boat here. It's a waiting pattern. We're waiting for those 12 jurors to come out and give the fate of Diddy's life. And if he is set free, nobody's going to do anything with him anyways. So he might as well leave the country. So God bless you, folks. Take care. All my love and respect to you. Thank you all who joined me, and I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Take care now. How do I go? How do I go?